Dear students, let us start with another topic, that is accessory respiratory organs in vertebrates with reference to the swim bladder and air sacs. The two major types of accessory organs. The swim bladders are present in the fishes, air sacs are present in the birds. Let us look first at swim bladder. Swim bladder, if you look at here, is basically a gas filled sac. It may contain oxygen, it may contain carbon dioxide and nitrogen. It is pneumatic sac because it is empty from inside and where the gases can be stored, and normally it lies on the dorsal side of the digestive tract. You can say this is the digestive tract, it is on the dorsal side. It remains connected with the digestive tract also with the help of the duct, pneumatic duct, and it lies below the vertebral column. You can see this is the notochord and the neurochord, and it is below the notochord and the neurochord. This gas filled air sac lies outside the coelom, that is the body cavity. So, it rises as an outgrowth from the esophagus. Basically, this is the part of the esophagus from which an outgrowth arises later on, which has formed the swim bladder or called the air sacs. Because you know it is the swim bladder, so it means it is something which helps the fishes in swimming. So, because the bottom dwellers are those fishes which do not swim actively, so the air bladder is not present in them. It shows a great diversity in mode of development, that is how it is developed, and its structure and function in different fishes is also very much different. Now, how it helps in swimming? Because swim bladder contain air, by filling a greater part of the body with the air makes the body lighter in weight as compared to the volume of the body. So, when it becomes lighter in weight, then the fishes swim in the water very easily. You can compare yourself. If you want to swim in a water, you take a tube, fill it with the gas, and bind the tube with your body, and then you jump into the water. The air tube will keep you floating on the water. In a similar way, this swim bladder helps the fishes in swimming. There are two types of the swim bladders, physostomous. So, if you look at in generalized teleost like accipenser, like salmon, like eel, the bladder remain connected with the esophagus from the dorsal side. This type of bladder, swim bladder, which remains connected with the esophagus, is called the physostomous type of a bladder. Then you are having second type of a bladder called the physocolistous type of a bladder. This bladder does not remain connected with the help of the duct with the intestinal tract. So, it is completely isolated and closed air sac. Now, the gas inside it is filled with the help of the some gas gland present on its wall. These type of air sac which are not connected, they are called the physocolistous air bladder. Now, this bladder serve only as buoyancy organ, again means it will help in the swimming only, whereas this type of air bladder has some other functions also, that it helps in the respiration also. So, also called as accessory respiratory organ. Now, this type also sometime helps in the respiration during the acute deficiency of oxygen. That means, when the animal is feeling acute deficiency of oxygen, so for that time it has some oxygen stored inside it, which can be utilized by the body of the fish. So, it takes the position of the accessory respiratory organ during the emergency case when the oxygen is very less. Otherwise, it is mainly a buoyancy organ, makes the animals help the animal in swimming in the water, whereas this has major role in the accessory respiratory organs as well as the buoyancy both. Let us look at some primitive type of fishes which are commonly called as ganoids, and then some bony scales fishes also, and the dipnoi. Dipnoi are the fishes which are commonly called the lungs fishes. Let us see what type of the differences are there in them. Now, in primitive fishes, the air bladder is accessory respiratory organs and seems to be its original function as accessory respiratory organ, because here you look at it is attached with the digestive tract. When the fish will gulp the air inside the digestive tract, it will go into the digestive tract and then it will fill this gas bladder inside it. So, in order to swim, it gulp the air inside. When the fish wants to go down to the bottom, it squeeze out the air so that the body become lighter, and in addition to it, because the wall of this gallbladder the air sac or the swim bladder is highly vascularized, it is having a rich supply of the blood. So, the oxygen taken inside also helps in the respiration. So, it acts as a accessory respiratory organs. Now, if you look at in the Polypterus, this is example of Polypterus. Here the swim bladders are two, they are bilobed. One lobe is larger, right lobe, and the left lobe is smaller. Both of them are connected with the help of the one duct, the pneumatic duct, to the ventral side of the esophagus. Then in case of the Protopterus, you can see it has the two again bilobed air bladder, but both the lobes are equal in size. Moreover, they are very much thick and highly vascularized, and they open again on the ventral side as well. Then you look at the Neoceratodus. Neoceratodus, there you are having only single air sac or the swim bladder present on the dorsal side of the esophagus, but it remain attached to the gut from the ventral side with the help of a pneumatic duct. So, it is a dorsal air bladder and it is a single. Then you look at in the Amia and the Lepidosteius, here again the swim bladder is single, but very large and present and attached to the dorsal side of the esophagus and opens to the esophagus with the help of a duct. Thus, in them, in Amia and Lepidosteius, the air bladder serve as both organ of respiration and hydrostatic organ. In order to act as a hydrostatic organ, the air bladder must be on the dorsal side, because if it is on the dorsal side, it will lift the body very easily, and the gases from the gulped gases from the intestine will easily move inside the bladder. So, here they are, because once the gases are inside, and if it is vascularized, having rich supply of the oxygen, the blood supply in the wall, then it means it may easily take up the oxygen for the respiration. So, here it is both the organ of hydrostatic nature and the organ of respiration also. Then in case of the bony fishes, you can see they have a little role in respiration and it serves majorly as a hydrostatic organ. You can see in the Erythrinus, a fish Ateliaust, where the air bladder is single, large, but it is present on the it is attached to the lateral side of the esophagus. Then the second type of accessory respiratory organ are the air sacs. They are present in the birds. They are accessory respiratory organs. The air sacs, they are very large. If you look at these are the lungs, and rest all are the air sacs. Air sacs are very large in size as compared to the lung. They are thin walled. Their wall is not thick. They don't have any blood supply, so they are non-vascular, and they don't have any muscles, well developed muscles, so they are non-muscular as well. Sometimes the air bladders, the air sacs, they continue with the pneumatic cavity of the bones, pneumatic bones. So basically, if you look at the air sacs, they developed by the dilation of the mucous membrane of bronchus. This is the trachea, which is dividing itself into bronchus. From the bronchus, the wall of the bronchus sometimes get enlarged to form the air sacs. The air sacs, they even extend, they lie among the viscera of the body, and I have already told you they extend themselves into the larger bones as well. The total volume of the air sac is much higher as compared to the volume of the lungs, because you can see they have the much greater size. Moreover, they fill much of the body cavity of the birds. So, by filling much of the body cavity with a very light material called the air sacs, having air inside them, having very less weight, keeps the body of the birds light in weight, thus helps in flying. Air sacs are paired. You see, they are paired, one on this side, one on the other side, they are paired. But in case of the pigeon, one that is called the clavicular air sac of the both side is fused and form as a one sac. So here you can see they are 9 in number, otherwise they must be 10 in number. So here the abdominal sac, their name is after the name of the body part where they are located. So say for example, they are located in the abdominal sac, abdomen, so they are the abdominal sac, again a pair. Then in the thoracic cavity, they are having anterior thoracic and the posterior thoracic air sacs on both the sides, and on the cervical sac, because they are present on the cervical portion, so they are cervical sac, and then the clavicular, because they are present very much near to the clavicle bone of the animals. Again, their general pattern is almost same in almost all the birds, except for the difference in size, shapes, etc. in different birds. Now, all the air sacs, if you look at, they arise from the secondary bronchus. So they arise from the secondary bronchus. This is the trachea dividing itself into primary bronchus, and all the air sacs arise from the secondary bronchus. Secondary bronchus is the branch coming out from the primary bronchus, except the one which is called the abdominal air sac, which is present at the terminal portion of the mesobronch or the secondary bronch. So when the secondary, these are the cartilage ring present around the trachea. When the trachea enters into the lung, it loses its cartilage ring, and then the bronch, the second primary bronch may be called as mesobronch. Now, the opening of this bronchus into the air sac is called the ostia. So you may see this may be ostia, this may be ostia, this may be ostia, and this may be ostia. Now, what is the function of air sacs? They communicate with the pneumatic cavities on one hand and with the bronchi on the other hand. Thus, air is filled in the bone cavity and in the air sacs, which are occupying much of the body cavity, thus making the body of the birds light. So by doing so, they help in flight. In addition to it, they help to maintain the temperature also, because taking inside the air and then blowing it outside from the body will takes away some heat during the scratchy summer, and during the winter they will not uh, take much of the breath, so that the air may not lose the heat. So, in that way they can regulate the temperature. Anyhow, their regulation of the temperature is much more in case of the summer season, when body get heated enough, then the air inside the air sacs is blown out. As a result, the body heat is lost and the body become cool. In addition to it, they also maintain balance of the body during the flight, because you know, when because they are present in the pair, and when the both the sides the air sacs are filled with the air, then the body will have the balance. It will not have the lighter one side and the heavier other side. They are principally accessory respiratory organs, uh, because they helps in the respiration. They are accessory because their membrane is not vascular, they do not have the blood supply. So, they themselves do not take the exchange of oxygen, but they help the lungs to change the air, thus lungs takes the main part of the respiration. They serve as a reservoir, uh, because the air inside them is because they do not respire through the air present in them. So, they just act as the reservoir and they take part in the movement of air during the respiration. Now, they take care of the residual air, thus ensuring a complete renewal of the air in the lungs at each breath, because you know, because the air sacs are present uh, outside the lungs. So, air after entering into the lungs through the bronchi go beyond to the air sac, and when the air sac compress itself, then the whole of the air from the lung will be thrown out. There will be no concept of the residual air in case of the birds. Thereby doing so, they have very active and healthy breathing system, with the help of which no dead air is left inside the lungs, where the which is not exchanged during the every breath. This is a compensation to the birds for having a good energy during the flight, because for getting the energy you require the oxygen, and more will be the fresh oxygen inside the lungs, more will be the respiratory rate. At each expiration, they act as a bellows, forcing their air out through the lungs. So, if you compare the lungs of the birds with the other lungs of the mammals have the alveoli which are having the blind end. Though the alveoli are the main site of the respiration, but because they have the blind end, some of the residual air always remain there as a dead air after each breathing, and which will not be a good sign for a healthy respiration, because some dead air may remain inside, which is not exchanged after every breath, unless you will blow it out forcefully. But in case of the birds, because of the air sacs, the lungs are completely replaced with the fresh air during the every breath. Thanks. This is all about the accessory respiratory organs in the animals, in the vertebrates, in the form of the air sacs and the swim bladder. Thanks.